Welcome everyone to the City Council meeting of Tuesday, July 21st, 6:30. We have Father Chris Roach from St. Mary's Magdalene Catholic Church will lead us in benediction and then will lead us in the pledge. This meeting is presided over by our mayor, Robert Odeker. Please stand.
Before we pray, I would just like to ask that we all take a moment of silence to remember Congressman John Lewis from Georgia. Almighty God, you generously bestow your gifts in abundance. We are most grateful for all that you continue to do for us and for the favors you grant. We gather in your name and ask that you come with your enlightenment and guidance, so that all decisions may begin with your inspiration. God of wisdom and justice, guide and support our mayor, the members of our city council, our acting city manager, and our city staff. Give them the strength to know your will so that all they do may be done with a desire to please you. God of comfort and healing, hear our prayers for those who are sick, especially those stricken with the COVID-19 virus. Grant them your care so that their health may be fully restored. For all who are particularly vulnerable, we pray for safety and protection. For all who experience fear or anxiety, we pray for peace of mind and spirit. For all of our brothers and sisters here in Joliet, in our state, in our nation, and around the world, we pray for their well-being. For all public officials and decision makers, we pray for wisdom and guidance. And during this time of fear, may we all be a sign of hope, comfort, and love to all. For we pray to you who are our Lord and God, forever and ever. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening, under proclamation honoring the City of Joliet Finance Department for receiving a Certificate of Achievement in Excellence in Financial Reporting for the Government Finance Officers Association.
Nobody will be accepting it, correct, Mayor, because of our restrictions?
Sure.
So I'm going to read this. This is a kind of a proclamation based on award of excellence, if you will, for one of our own departments, our finance department, headed by Jim Gadati, but of course he doesn't do it alone, and he'd be the first one to say that. It's him and his entire team. It's the Government Finance, there you are, Jim. It's the Government Finance Officers Association and their Certificate of Achievement, kind of like the Grammy Awards of the bean counters, right? The proclamation reads as follows, Jim. Whereas the City of Joliet Finance Department prepares a comprehensive annual financial report at the end of each fiscal year and submits it to the Government Finance Officers Association for review. Whereas the Government Finance Officers Association advances excellence in government finance by providing best practice, professional development, resources, and practical research for government finance entities. Whereas the City of Joliet Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for the 2018 fiscal year was reviewed by an impartial panel of the Government Finance Officers Association. Whereas this panel of judges found the 2018 fiscal report to be prepared exceptionally, therefore meeting the standards for Certificate of Achievement and Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association. Whereas the Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. Now therefore, I, Robert Oderkirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, do hereby recognize and commend the City of Joliet Finance Department for their outstanding fiscal responsibility, record keeping, and document preparation on behalf of the City of Joliet and its residents. It's signed July 21st, 2020, Robert Oderkirk, Mayor. Good job. You want to do that? You want to get up there? Say something? I'm going to stop.
Very briefly, I could not have done this without the fine finance department that I have, or our audit firm of Wormer, Rogers, Duran, and Ruzon. This is the 20th straight year that the city has received this award, and we all should be very proud because there's many finance departments that do that. On top of that, we have received a Distinguished Budget Award the last 4 years. So we strive to make our finance department the best financial reporting finance department that we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the following changes? First, remove Council Memo 379-20 from consent agenda and vote on this separately with 2 separate votes. The item is a request for authorization to engage Ice Miller LLP as bond counsel for a general obligation bond that would borrow $4 million for vehicle replacement and $6.5 million for library improvements. We'll have 1 vote on the vehicle replacement and 1 vote on the library improvements. And the second change is to vote on Council Memo 394-20 immediately following citizens to be heard on agenda items. This is a resolution approving an honorary street name change for Margie Woods on Dover Street between the canal and Youngs Avenue. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the changes I mentioned?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is Robert Hernandez. All please.
The first, Mr. Mayor, Robert Hernandez, Joliet, Illinois, lifelong resident. The first item I want to cover, as I signed up for 3, was with the library. I talked about this months ago when I opposed spending that kind of money for the library, and even more so today. We have a major pandemic which has struck our country. Thousands of Jolietans have been out of work. Many senior citizens that are struggling and are fearful that they could lose their life because they're the most vulnerable. And I know that they'll say that, well, this is a loan because they're going to get a grant from the state of Illinois. But that grant is taxpayers' money. That's still taxpayers' money. And that should be used toward resources in helping individuals, those have-nots that I spoke of before and I speak of today during this pandemic. I know that Mr. Wolf came before the city council yesterday. Well, he's a have. He's a wealthy man. He can afford tax increase. He can afford to take trips. He can afford to have DoorDash pull up in a limousine to deliver his steak dinners. But the majority of residents here in our city of Joliet, who are blue-collar, hard-working Americans, can't, especially our senior citizens and those who live in our poor neighborhoods, who have been just terribly, terribly destroyed by this virus, which has struck our nation, and particularly here in our community of Joliet. I believe that any grants should go toward helping those less fortunate, those who are our senior citizens, who are struggling, who are fearful of the virus, to help them. We don't need a Taj Mahal as a library in the city of Joliet. We have a library that's there now that is sufficient. Right now at that library, and I challenge the librarian who doesn't live in Joliet to go there at night, like I have, and see people laid out on the tables, those that are homeless. And I'm not against the homeless, because my best friend is Diane Nylon, who runs Hear Us, a national homeless organization, and she founded Daybreak, and she founded the Hess House in Aurora, which is the largest homeless shelter in the state of Illinois. So again, I urge you not to support the bond issue for the $6.5 million for the Joliet Public Library to turn it into a Taj Mahal. Let's use that kind of funding to help those less fortunate, those that have suffered during this pandemic. The other issue that I wanted to talk about is the gas station. Now, that has been a very, very sore point with me, because this city council, with the exception of a few, allowed a liquor license to be given to Thornton's gas station on Collins, even though hundreds of residents in that area, primarily Hispanic, opposed it. But no one said, let's listen to what the residents of the east side in that area, what their thoughts are, what their opinions are. How do they feel about this? And we know the problems that exist in that neighborhood. We've seen it at the gas station next door, and those proprietors operate a good business. But yet we've seen a lot of disturbances there. I was there when bats and other weapons were used to break out windows. I had to call 911, and our Joliet police responded rapidly, as they always do. There's been a lot of disturbance there. Just imagine with the liquor license, and that is what the residents were fearful of. But the city council set a precedent, and they passed it, and a liquor license was granted to that gas station on Collins Street. If it's good enough to do that without asking the residents of Collins Street, who are primarily Hispanic, then you've set a precedent. You should grant it for the proprietor, Mr. Lambert, on Broadway Street and Theodore. The third issue is the donut shop. That's the third issue. I signed up for 3.
Yeah, I know, it's 4-minute limit, thank you.
For all 3? I thought it was for each one. No. Okay, well, just really quickly, I support the donut shop on 6 Corners. There's not gonna be any problems with congestion. We had a liquor store, we had a Burrito King there that had 10 times the traffic, and there was never an issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Murphy?
Good evening. I'm here again tonight on behalf of Lambert Enterprises. Terry Lambert is also here, but due to the number of people and the restrictions here, he's out in the hall. I'm just here to remind you again that Lambert Enterprises is a family-run local business. We are asking for a liquor license and to be able to get the same type of waiver that was given to Thornton's, a billion-dollar company that is out of state. If you have questions, we're here to answer them. But otherwise, I would just remind you of the arguments we made yesterday, and basically our plea to you to support a local resident. So please vote against the resolution to deny the liquor license and vote for the liquor license. Thank you.
Thank you.
Umesh Patel?
Hi, good evening. Just want to thank you guys for letting us come here and present our small Dunkin' Donut business we're trying to build here. I would like to thank the City of Joliet member who worked with us, the engineering staff, they did a brilliant job. We work hand to hand with them. And again, I really appreciate the opportunity given us at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? You may approach.
Thank you. I was here last night. I'm the president of the Illinois Licensed Beverage Association. We oppose anyone getting a liquor license like in a gas station or a cafe or anything else, because they're looking to bring in more video gaming machines and that, and we feel that this is going to hurt our businesses, which have already been hurt being closed for 2.5 months and possibly being closed again. We don't know how this is going to work out yet. And we really need the help, and anything else that would detour that would hurt us quite a bit. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, we're going to move on to Council Memo 394-20, which is a resolution approving an honorary street name change for Margie Woods on Dover Street between the canal and Youngs Avenue.
Krista, before we do that, if there's people here for this item, if they want to come in the room.
Okay. And if there's anyone that would like to, yeah, you can come into the room. If there's anyone that would like to step out so we can try to maintain some social distancing till that, I would greatly appreciate that.
Thank you.
Did we want to vote on the item first before they speak, or do you prefer they
Yeah,
speak first?
we should.
Okay. So it's recommended said resolution be adopted. Is there a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
If I can say this, I would not be in this chair tonight had it not been for Miss Margie Gavin Woods, one of the best mentors. So it is her shoulders that I stand on this evening. I vote aye.
Councilman Hogg?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just comment on this way. When I was elected first in 2011, she was one of a group of people independently who literally and figuratively embraced me. That's when I first met Miss Woods. And since then, I certainly saw what she's done since then, but more, as importantly, what she had done for decades prior. And she certainly deserves this honor. She was one hell of a citizen. Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I would just like to say we should have probably did this years ago. Wait, I mean, years ago. She deserves this. And, you know, we could all sit here and talk all night long about Miss Woods, but I vote aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Miss Margie, she helped me so many times when I was a novice running for council and I gave up and lost. And she said, "Don't give up. I've got you." And sent out postcards to her friends for me to vote for me. And when I got it, she said, "See, girl, you did it." So again, without her, you know, you never know. There's support and family and friends. She was a remarkable woman, and absolutely aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
You know, Margie was a true community leader and very approachable, just a great person for the whole community. And she served a long time on the county board, and she served and was there for the correct reason, and that was to help the people, not to enhance herself. She didn't, you know, present herself. She needed a lot of accolades, but she was a true leader, and I vote aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. I thought I was going to have to do something here, but you guys saved me. So the only thing that I have to do is thank all these wonderful people that stand in solidarity with us in honoring Margie Woods. Like you said, we could be here all night talking about the wonderful contributions that she's given to the city of Joliet and the county of Will. But without further ado, I'm going to move over and let her husband speak. But the family would like to request if we can get a copy of this footage for treasure and safekeeping. So if we can get a copy of it, Jenny, if you're back there and you hear me, please get me a copy. Come on up, Floyd.
Well, good evening, everybody. This is truly an honor that you even considered our request. And I want to start with the zoning committee. I want to thank them for their consideration. And then I want to thank the entire city council and the mayor for allowing us to get our request answered in a yes manner. And I really thank all of you. I know most of you, but I've been around here a while. And Mr. Turk, here a long time. But anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you for your consideration. And it's an honor for you to allow us to come before you for this request. And I thank you so much. I have two of our daughters here, the granddaughter and your granddaughter. And some of you see all the other guests that Marge have crossed their paths one way or the other over the years, 28 years serving on the county board. She crossed a lot of paths. And I'm so happy. And again, I thank all of you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing, Mr. Mayor and Council, I have some just wonderful, wonderful letters that had from Ruth Colby, where are you, Ruth Colby, Silver Cross Hospital. As you know, all know, Margie was a part of the Healthy Committee Commission, and Mr. Terry Dorsey. Margie worked long and tirelessly with him, as well as Howard Wright. She kind of raised him a little bit. Boy, you better do what I said. No, but she kind of raised him. So I would love it, Mayor, if you would accept these letters from these wonderful, beautiful people. Am I able to approach your
If you give to the
bench?
clerk, but thank you.
Okay, all right, okay. I had something else, but I forgot, so I'll leave it at that. Oh, no, I haven't forgotten. I would be remiss if I didn't have the executive, the interim county executive to come up and say a few words. Ms. Denise Winfrey.
Thank you, Julia. As you all know, Julia always is going to put somebody at the microphone. And I'm here tonight in support of Margie because I first met her when she was at Lewis University through the Caterpillar program. I was there. And over the years, she has been a support and encouragement, not only for me, but for many others, as you all know. And so it's a pleasure to be here tonight to see that she is being paid the tribute that she deserves. So thank you all.
Thank you.
See you all at the unveiling of the street sign. Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isaiah Williams Jr. I'm here. That is a truly hard act to follow. So, but I'm here on the behalf of Including You Festival Incorporated, and I want to read a little paragraph here in regards to what's happening with us, and this won't take but a moment. The Including You the Including You Incorporated Festival fundraiser event held in July of each year in Joliet City Center had to be canceled this year due to the COVID-19 outbreak. The event has been rescheduled for July 22nd of 2021. Including You believes in safety and having healthy family fun. That is why we decided to postpone the 2020 Family Fun Festival, and hope to pick up in 2021, where we left off in 2020. Including You recipients for the 2020-2021 festival are the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Joliet and the National Hookup of Black Women, male performers. This will not change. Thank you all for working and praying and staying with us. In late 2016, our president, that just left the podium here, Ms. Julia Alexander, approached Mayor Odekirk with an idea to close the gap in minority participation in the Joliet City Center events. The Black Pride Parade had been going on for about 4 years, and it was no longer running. In early 2017, Julia Alexander formed a board of directors, which I am the vice president of, and committee chairpersons, and obtained a nonprofit status. Julia recalls that while awaiting for our 501c3 status, the Will Grundy Medical Clinic hosted Including You as our group fiduciary agent. The organization received the status in late 2017. Including You, Inc. Inc.'s mission is to empower, inspire, and educate. These core values enhance and the self-esteem of a spirited Joliet community. Including You is now going on its third successful year of giving back to the community. All proceeds go to 2 chosen recipients each year. This could not happen without the help of the fine people of the city and the county. The organization plans for the near future are to continue to supporting those in need. During this COVID-19 pandemic, Including You, Inc. felt the need to reach out. So we decided to make small donations of $300 to the organizations that we chose with the Morning Star Mission and the Spanish Community Center as recipients for those donations. As our city and state begins to reopen, Including You, Inc. will continue raising funds to carry on with our mission. I want people to know how thankful we are for their unwavering and continued support, and that they can still make donations to Including You. Donations can be sent to the organization. We have a P.O. box number. We have a website. I'm going to go into all those little details. But we're definitely thankful for the support that we've been given, and it's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait till next year. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Next is council committee reports. First is finance committee report.
The Finance Committee, comprised of Councilman Reardon and Councilman Mudger and myself, met here in the council chambers at 5:30 this evening to review the following items. First on the agenda was the request for authorization to enter into Amendment Number 1 of the original Andres Medical Agreement. As you all know, Andres does our collection of ambulance fees from the public, and there's another program out there that is very labor intensive to manage, and a lot of paperwork. So the chief brought it to us this evening to ask Andres to administer that program along with the programs that they're doing now. And what this program does, right now when we transport a Medicaid patient, our reimbursement is $200 and from the state, and and as you all know, it costs much more to transport a patient to the local hospitals. This program will have access to federal money, and in conservative estimate will generate a minimum of probably a little over $2 million per year into increased revenues of our medical or our ambulance fees. So that's $30,000. Council approved that to recommend to the full council. Also, next on the agenda was the ordinance amending the budget to approve a grant agreement with the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus to continue the Census 2020 community outreach education efforts, and that is a grant for, I believe it's $26,000 additional funding for the city of Joliet for for census completion and administration. That also was approved. Greg Ruddy gave us a report on the next item, which was a amendment to the budget to add funding to award a contract for the assessment of the parking facilities downtown area. As we all know, the council, as the council knows, the parking garages are in not too good of a condition and needs a lot of work. This would detail that work and the cost to do the necessary repairs. Also, the method of collecting revenues at the parking garages are totally antiquated and not up to today's technology. There were 2 bids, and 1 bid was $151,500. At the recommendation of Councilwoman Reardon, we tabled that for a month and asked Greg to see if WGI Incorporated would hold their costs for the end of the year when we see with our new budget and where we're at. We tabled it for 30 days, so we will, when Greg reports it next month, then we'll table it till the end of the year and deal with it then. Also, the next thing on the agenda was request to engage Ice Miller LLP as bond counsel for the general obligation bond that would borrow $4 million for vehicle replacement and $6.5 million for library improvements at a cost of the bond counsel's fee would be $9,500. The state grant that was secured by Senator McGuire will fund the library improvements. So this would be basically a loan till we get the state money. And the $6.5 million will not be a part of next year's
budget?
Levy, tax levy, that's what I meant, I'm sorry. Slipping back and forth here. The next thing on the agenda was, let's see here, was the monthly financial report that I'd like to ask Jim Gadati to go over and explain to the full council what he told us.
Good evening. The monthly financial report for June shows that the city has used about $5 million of our reserves. It's typical in June that we will use money through the first 6 months and regain it through the last 6 months because our high revenue months come in October and November. Quite coincidentally, our gaming revenue is down about $5 million. So our deficit 2 years ago was about $2.5 million at this point, and last year was about $2 million. So we're trending a little behind the past years. All of our revenue is coming in a little bit under. As I said, the gaming revenue is about $5 million through June. Quite frankly, April, May, and June, we got about $600 through the gambling. I'm still trying to figure out who was gambling over there during those months, but virtually all of our revenue is coming in slower than in past years. However, we have slowed down our expenditures also. Our next 6 months are going to be very challenging as the revenues are going to level off rather than increase in the final 6 months. Another report I made is today I received the draft report of our 2019 audit. We are a little behind this year because of the COVID. The auditors could not get out and do their field work that's necessary to give an opinion. but we did get an extension from the state and from the GFOA to submit our CAFR by July 31st. The use of fund balance in 2019 in the general fund was $6.4 million. If you'll recall, when we developed the 2020 budget, the prediction was about $11 million. So we finished a little better than we thought, and it's going to be a challenge the next 6 months. We have virtually had a hiring freeze, and we've slowed down all of our expenditures, non-essential expenditures. We are holding off to see what happens in the rest of the 6 months.
Thank you.
Mayor, question?
Yeah.
Jim, last time you gave a report, we had received, I believe, January, February, March from the state on the taxes, sales
Correct.
taxes. Have we received April and May yet?
We received, April is going to come this month.
All right, so we don't know where we're at with
So we don't know. March
Okay.
came in about 8% below last year's March. So we didn't do as bad, because if you remember, we closed March 16th. But there was a lag effect, but we will get our taxes this month, probably in the next week. The income tax is a little bit slow. The state is telling me they're expected to be 95%. But as you know, the state has extended the filing period from April 15th to July 15th. So by August, we should know about where our income taxes are going to end up. Same with our property tax. We have extended the amount of time that you get to pay it. But it appears that it's coming in about 5% lower than it did in prior years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, we also looked at the travel expense report, temporary department vacancies, and invoices paid report, and found them all to be in order and recommend their approval this evening.
Next is Public Service Committee report.
Mayor, we met yesterday, and I got hung up with work and arrived very, very late. And Councilman Morris was so kind as to step in and do a better job than me as the chairman, so he'll be giving the report.
I will.
Yes, you will.
I thought you was gonna give it, Larry. Well, Councilwoman Gavin and I, we held it down until Councilman Hood got there. We had a couple contracts, 2 contracts actually, and staff was here, and all the staff is usually here, and some seemed like we had a full room. The city manager stole my thunder yesterday talking about our first contract of the non-invasive roadway temperature. I thought that was great. Sensors. Mike Eulis explained to us that that was a big savings. What was it, maybe like $40-something thousand? Yeah, in one event, one snow event last year, that was a savings to the city. And this is like $36,000, but with 5 payments of $36 and some odd dollars payment. So we thought that was a very good contract, and that's on the agenda tonight, I believe. The change orders, all that seemed fine. Went over that. Ordinance and resolutions, we thoroughly went through those. The one that the gentleman is here tonight from the Dunkin' restaurant. So we had much conversation on some of the egressing of the cars to that, and some other issues that some of the residents had, and they was very, the architect and the owner was very good in saying that they're going to work with the community, work with the city, in doing anything in the near future. If something needs to be changed, I believe there's going to be some added word to the item tonight for approval in the case in the future that the traffic do become a problem. The other ordinance and resolution, I think Councilman Hugg, he talked about it last night, so I guess I don't need to talk about that, the low interest loan that we're getting from the IEPA. And Mayor, I think that's it, unless I missed something. Committee member?
No.
Got it?
Thank you.
Okay.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes, it's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on July 6, 2020, and the minutes of the council meeting held on July 7th, 2020 stand approved as recorded. An invoices paid report, it's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 379-20. We will be breaking this out into two different sections. First is a request for authorization to engage Ice Miller LLP as bond counsel for a general obligation bond that would borrow $4 million for vehicle replacement.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
No.
Motion carried 7-1. Next is
Excuse me.
Yes,
I thought we were gonna separate those.
you did.
that
That was for vehicles.
that was vehicle.
Okay,
replacement.
all right, just, okay.
Next is a request for authorization to engage Ice Miller LLP as bond counsel for a general obligation bond that would borrow $6.5 million for library improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just for discussion's sake, today, in a newspaper, I just read an article. The good news was that there's $5 billion planned to be spent on the state of Illinois' capital improvements, $40 billion capital improvements program over the next 5 years in Will County, including, I-80 and I-55 improvements. However, it was said by the state, there's no guarantee all that money will come through. It could be delayed. They don't know how much and how long it could be delayed. So understand as we vote on this, in taking on a commitment akin to the commitment that the council made when they took on the bond for the park district many years ago for the water park, and they couldn't pay it. We're gonna owe this. Even if this money, if it's guaranteed and available, the check will be given to we wouldn't need a bond. So this, you're rolling the dice. Personally, if I'm gonna roll the dice or gamble, I probably wouldn't do it with the state of Illinois, I'd do it with the ponies. So, just wanna say it was interesting to see the article today. Good news, but even the state gave it a codicil saying that these types of monies aren't guaranteed.
It was motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 379-20, request for authorization to engage Ice Miller LLP as bond counsel for a general obligation bond that would borrow $6.5 million for library improvements. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
No. For the reasons stated by Councilman Hogg.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
No.
Councilman Morris.
No.
Motion carried 5-3. Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 381-20, denial order of issuance of a Class A liquor license at 1529 North Broadway Street, Lambert Mobile and Convenience Store. It's recommended a resolution be approved denying the application for a liquor license at 1529 North Broadway Street, Lambert Mobile Convenience Store.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve, which is a resolution denying the application for a liquor license. Councilwoman Coleman.
No.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
To be clear, Krista, this is a motion, as I read, to deny the license.
Correct.
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. The license is denied. Council Memo 382-20 is a denial order of issuance of a Class A liquor license at 4704 Caton Farm Road, Wynn Vegas Incorporated. It's recommended a resolution be approved denying the application for a liquor license at 4704 Caton Farm Road, Wynn Vegas.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudd.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried. The license is denied. Council Memo 383-20 is issuance of a Class B liquor license at 1125 Collins Street, the old Joliet Prison. It's recommended a Class B liquor license be issued for 1125 Collins Street.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
No.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Okay. Is this to approve or to deny?
Approve.
This is to approve a liquor license at 1125
Okay.
Collins Street.
No.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 384-20, the application for a drive-through permit for a Dunkin' restaurant at 800 North Rainer Avenue. It's recommended the drive-through permit for Dunkin' restaurant at 800 North Rainer Avenue be approved subject to the final engineering plans and a reassessment of any restrictions at a future plan, and need be to change it to left turn only.
I would make a motion. So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye. And
Coun-
thank you.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, under public hearings, is Council Memo 386-20, ordinances and resolutions associated with gas and wash, Route 6 at Gauger subdivision. This includes an annexation of 3.5 acres located at the southeast corner of Route 6 and Gauger Road, classification to B3 general business zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. Annexation of 0.65 acres located at the southeast corner of Route 6 and Gauger Road. Looks like it was listed to classification to B3 general business zoning and approval of the agreement. It is recommended this public hearing be opened and continued to the September 15, 2020 council meeting.
Are we opening it up for comment?
We, normally when it's being continued, we open it up. If anyone is here, they can speak, and then we continue the hearing and the item to
Okay.
September 15th. So let the record show the public hearing is now open. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this item? You would need to approach the podium. Seeing none.
Motion to table?
It's a motion to continue the public hearing and the council memo items for 386-20, which are ordinances and resolutions associated with gas and wash, Route 6 and Gauger subdivision, to the September 15th council meeting.
Motion to table.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to continue 386-20 in the public hearing to September 15th. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Continued to September 5th council meeting, 15th. Under ordinances, Council Memo 388-20, an ordinance amending the 2020 annual budget for the City of Joliet, and a resolution approving a grant agreement with the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus to continue Census 2020 community outreach and education efforts. It's recommended said ordinance and resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 389-20, which is an ordinance approving the reclassification of 4998 Theodore Street from R1 Single Family Residential to B3 General Business Zoning. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 390-20 is an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 31, Article 5 Sewers of the Code of Ordinances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 392-20, a resolution authorizing the execution of an exchange agreement with BNSF Railway Company. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Yes.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 393-20 is a resolution accepting Illinois Environmental Protection Agency low-interest loan L175742 for the Leadwater Service Line Replacement Program Phase 1. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Affirmative.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 394-20 was previously approved. Council Memo 395-20, resolution authorizing execution of a lease amendment regarding 1599 John D. Page Drive. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 396-20, resolution accepting dedication of right-of-way for the Rock Run Crossings Development. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under bids and contracts, award of contracts, Council Memo 398-20, award a professional services contract to provide non-invasive roadway temperature sensors for the roadways division to Frost Control Systems in the yearly amount of $36,396. And Council Memo 399-20, award a contract for the potholing water service line project to Deconstruction Incorporated in the amount of $262,000. It's recommended Council Memos 398-20 and 399-20 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Amendments, change orders, and payments. Council Memo 401-20, approved change order number 1 for the 2019 roadways resurfacing contract to PT Farrell Construction Company in the amount of $49,260.62, and payment request number 5 in the amount of $46,797.59. Council Memo 402-20, approved payment of the 2020 wastewater discharge NPDES permit fees to the Illinois EPA in the amount of $152,500. Council Memo 403-20, approved the spring lease payment for the 2020 biosolids disposal program to Mr. Joe Belowski in the amount of $25,725. And Council Memo 404-20, enter into Amendment Number 1 of the original Andres Medical Agreement contract. It's recommended Council Memos 401-20 through 404-20 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
Thank you. I have one item, and it's really not a report, but it's to look to the council for a little bit of direction. And it relates to the pretty much status of our investigation that's ongoing with regard to the death of Eric Lurie. As everyone knows, the Will County State's Attorney, the Major Crimes Task Force, and the Will County Coroner have indicated that there were no criminal acts by the police department, which then opened up our investigation locally for possible internal investigation. At the last council meeting, there was talk that I brought forward about hiring the firm of Hilliard Hines, or really any firm, to come in and do that investigation. Obviously, we have our own internal affairs division, but obviously because of the high-profile nature of this case and the fact that having an outside set of ears and eyes coming in is advantageous to get to the truth of what internal protocols, what procedures we implemented with regard to the arrest and unfortunately the death of this poor soul. So at the last meeting we talked about that, and there was a little bit of resistance. There was some discussion by a couple of the elected officials as to not proceeding with that, but to rely upon the Illinois Attorney General. The Illinois Attorney General does have the case. They've seen the materials, and we expect to hear from them shortly. But I'm looking for direction from the council because, in effect, the Attorney General does not do internal reviews. When the outside agencies are doing the criminal investigation, they're looking to see, is there a civil rights violation? Is there a violation of law? Is there an omission that led to someone being injured or their death that then becomes a criminal matter? When we look at things from an internal perspective, it's after that investigation has occurred. So we need to do an investigation internally of personnel. Did they follow our protocols? Did they take their training and implement whatever training should have been applied to this case? And did they do it properly? Are there lessons learned for future cases? So the criminal investigation that's been complete and the internal affairs investigation that remains to be done are two separate issues. So I'm coming to council saying, we've put this on hold. We have a couple of officers who literally will be part of that internal affairs review in terms of their actions in this case. So we're looking for direction. Would you like us to bring someone else forward? Would you like to keep the internal affairs investigation on hold until the Attorney General weighs in? It's a discussion. It's not something that there's a vote, but Hilliard Hines is within my spending authority, as would probably another investigation. I could certainly do that, but I don't want to do that without having council buy-in. So that's the direction we're looking for. Thoughts?
Can we, Your Honor,
Yes.
if I might, I hate prolonging any investigation anymore. Is it an opportunity for maybe the state police?
It's difficult to hear.
As I said, I hate to prolong any investigation any longer. Is it possible that we can bring the state police in, or is there another firm that we could possibly use to get that going?
Did you say state police?
State police.
I mean,
Is that an entity that we could use?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, there's an investigation going on right now locally with the state police, and they're basically going to turn that investigation then over to the Will County State's Attorney. It's not related to this. So I don't think the state police do investigations independent. Illinois Attorney General, obviously that's a different entity. It's a statewide law enforcement organization. You know, they've looked at the tape. They're discussing it right now. So internal is, keep in mind, criminal is where we've been. Internal is where we need to go. So these outside entities, these law enforcement agencies, do not do internal investigations. I mean, if there's some criminal aspect to it, yes, but that's completed. You know, there could be a second set of eyes with the AG. So we're now looking to see, again, you know, what training aspects were implemented here, were there things done or not done that become discipline as opposed to charges.
Okay, so what I'm asking, Steve, or maybe somebody can give me some names of a firm or anything that we can get going. My concern is that I do not want to lag on the internal investigation, because that's not, you know, we need to get this thing going. This family is here. We need to get questions answered. So, Hillard Hines, I think, which is a great firm to do. If not Hillard Hines, then who? That's what I'm looking for.
We do have another firm that was recommended by one of our law firms. While we're talking, I could give you that name. I wasn't familiar with them. Do you remember who it was? Clark Baird Smith had recommended a firm, I believe they were in Bloomingdale.
Okay, all right. Well, all I want is a firm with great integrity to look at the inner workings, the internal investigation, and let's get that process going as well.
Mayor? Yes. I asked the same question that Councilwoman Gavin did last night in executive session, and so I still don't think I got a definitive answer. Is it a definite no that the Illinois State Police do not do internal only criminal? Has anybody called to confirm that with me?
I have not.
We need to do that, I think, is my suggestion. That's the first step. Then we can take into consideration what this outside law firm has told us. It is imperative that anybody we choose to be objective and from the outside must be objective and from the outside. So, you know, it can't be chosen by the chief or by yourself. So we have one suggestion from an outside law firm that we contract with. If, or when I should say, someone reaches out to the Illinois State Police to confirm they won't do this type of investigation, I suspect maybe they can give a very independent and objective reference too, so we'd have more than one to consider.
Continuing the discussion for direction, if the Illinois State Police do not, which I don't believe they do, but I can't definitively say that, obviously there could be, 2 or 3 other firms identified. Who do you want to make that decision? Do you want to save this for the council meeting in August, or do you want us to make that decision? And the only reason I'm asking is that, every time we go from one council cycle to the next, there's a question of timing.
I guess it would depend on how quickly we get the answer, definitive answer from the state police, as well as any additional referrals they might give. We are scheduling a week from today a special council meeting. We have plenty of time to add that item to the special council meeting.
Yes, yes. I agree with that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, Steve, I try to be as clear as I can, and sometimes I have difficulty doing that. I don't know if it's so much of who does the investigation, but it's whose are they answering to. I mean, what I mean is police giving them the information or the evidence to look at, or are they coming on their own, or are they just working directly through legal? Or are you know what I'm saying? I think that's where I had an issue that, you know, you and maybe the chief was picking who was going to do the independent investigation.
Well, originally, when Hillard Hines was presented to the legal department by city manager, scope of service was presented to me, which has now been put on hold from Hillard Hines, and they would actually report back to the legal department. So all of the documents and the records would be provided by our police department, because those are held there at the police department. But any results, any findings, any questions would flow through the legal department.
I just think that way would be a little more transparent for myself and for the public. But it's just like, so who sent the information to the Attorney General's office? Because a couple of weeks ago, it was said to us, or maybe 3 weeks ago, that you didn't know if they were going to do it, that the state's attorney had to ask them to do it. Every week, like you say, it's something different, you know, come up. So who gave the Attorney General the information? Because this is kind of my first hearing about it yesterday.
The mayor and several folks on council had sent a letter. Information was provided by PD. In fact, you know, the tape, the records, there were several law enforcement agencies who were sent the material.
So
By who? I'm sorry, yeah, you scoffed at that letter 2 weeks ago, and now apparently it had effect. So who sent to what? Terry's right, we heard about this the first time in executive session. Nobody told me that my letter was being answered.
I believe they actually received it. Was it before the letter went off?
They received the request for the documents on July 7th.
Okay, and we weren't told that.
After.
So, look, I agree with Terry. And if it's going to the legal department, I'm comfortable with that. There's been so much misinformation provided to this city council, and quite frankly, some of it by you and some of it by the police chief. And every time we reconvene, there's a new version, that there's one videotape, oh no, now there's two, now there's three, now the Attorney General's looking at it, or someone else has looked at it. So, yeah, the legal department, I know, was kept in the dark like we were, and I'd be very comfortable with them leading or communicating directly with whoever does the investigation.
Good. I mean, this is the kind of direction we're looking for, to get this thing from a holding pattern into, you know,
Terry, I'm
completing.
sorry to
No,
interrupt
no,
you.
you're fine. You asked my question. I'm good.
All right, Mayor, then the question I have, and you already, you know, alluded to the scope of services, and the mayor has alluded to 1, then 2, then 3 videos, and this has nothing to do with anybody here making a judgment. It's about being transparent and explaining, no matter what the videos show, why. I don't know the exact count, maybe somebody in here knows. We seem to have quite a few video cameras attached to the building and poles around our police department, and none of those videos have been offered up, and we're told, unless it changes, like some things have done, that those videos weren't preserved and no longer exist. Is this true?
I'm not sure what.
There's all kinds of cameras there, Steve.
Yes or no answer?
And I didn't count them.
Oh, I'm sorry, you mean outside the building?
Right.
Every 60 days, those roll over.
So nobody had the forethought. There's a problem there with me, that when a man died, that's a reason to preserve.
Well, again, I'm not part of the investigation, so I can't answer for the.
So that would be part of the
steps.
scope of services for our independent.
Sure.
Okay.
And actually, I did get a text response with regard to the state police. This is from Al Rochner. Just got off the phone with Captain from state, and no, they do not do administrative on other departments. So in effect.
Mayor, if I can continue?
Yes.
To be clear, the decision on what caused Mr. Lurie's death does not lie with these laymen, myself included, on the council. That's why we asked the Attorney General to step in. Those decisions have been made in succession, and now we're waiting for the Attorney General. The decision of command to not preserve those tapes after the death of a man, that lays with this council. So we want that in the investigation.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gavin, you had a private, well, not you had a meeting here because you said you wanted to do some investigating on your own.
Yes.
You wanted more information. And so can you tell me, after you had that meeting with the pastors and you watched the video, what conclusions you came to? Because you never told us.
Well, nobody ever asked me, but
I'm asking.
anyway, what I did conclude, and the reason why I did that is because when the news first came out, nobody knew anything. And so I wanted to start asking questions. The chief was not available at that time when the council showed us the video, so he was not here, so I could ask him questions. I went to the chief to try to find out what happened, what's the timeline, everything else. I wanted context to what I just saw. Now, what I saw, everything wasn't right into what I saw. And so then I have additional questions. I reached out to, there was an investigation going with the state police. I wanted to know where that was. There was also an investigation going on with the state's attorney. I wanted to know what they said. So the more information that I got, when I walked away, my conclusions, when I walked away from that, and I didn't discuss that with anybody, it was just what I saw and what the context was. So having said that, what I did find out is there are some more additional investigations that need to go on, okay? The internal side, when they made their criminal decision, the internal side is where I got the problem, okay? And I still have that problem to this day. And that's why I'm asking for an independent person to come in, agency to come in and look at the internal investigations. Because did I see some things that was wrong? To me, and I'm not a police officer, but to me it looked wrong.
But yet and still, you did an independent investigation.
Sir,
Cam,
if I might finish my statement, she asked me a question.
There'll be public comment. Can you please reserve it to them? Thank you.
So that, Councilwoman, is what I walked away with. There is still some underlying investigations that need to happen, and they need to happen quickly.
Well, they had to be quickly right away. That's why I wanted to send the letter immediately, because then it was brought to my attention. I said, we need to get this out of here for independent investigation.
Yes.
But my other thing was, in the newspaper, it said that you had a bunch of pastors here, and then they made a statement that they didn't see anything wrong.
No,
So I was wondering what your discussion was after that.
Here is what I brought to, here's the people that I brought with me to that investigation, to the police station. There are a group of pastors, community leaders, who are already working with the police department on police reform during the May 31st event involving the mayor. We wanted to get to the bottom of that. So this group of community leaders and pastors also had the opportunity to see the video. Okay, nobody discussed the video when we came out. They made their own assumptions. I don't know what they said publicly or privately after that. We dispersed from after watching it, got into our cars, and we left. So if they were interviewed at a different time, I can't tell you. I cannot tell you.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that is why I went. I went with that group of people because they were already building that relationship, working on police reforms and policy and procedures, which I think was very needed at the time. I still think it's needed. And so that's where I stand.
Mayor?
Does that kind of answer your question, Councilwoman?
Well, yes and no, because then why didn't you sign the letter? That was my question.
We knew.
After you knew all
you
that.
You knew exactly why I didn't sign the letter. And you know, and this is what gets me. Okay. The letter had been floating around from my understanding. I still did not see the letter, did not read it. The letter had been floating around. When the mayor asked me, told me about the letter and the signature Friday evening, he said he was mailing it on Saturday. Okay. well, we not coming together for me to read the letter. I said, go ahead and mail it. If you're asking for an investigation, I had no problem with an investigation. That's not a problem. Whoever sent it. It could have been one name on it, just the mayor's name on it. Been fine with me, because I still want the investigation. Still want it. But from what I heard, the letter changed a couple of times, maybe 2 to 3 times. I don't know. I never saw it. I never saw it. That's why I wasn't signing it. That's why my signature was nowhere on it. But did I want an investigation? Yes, I do. Do I want an investigation? Yes, I do. To make myself perfectly clear, I want it. I don't want it to be delayed any longer. I do not want it to be delayed any longer, so I want it, and I want it now. Exactly, that's what I want. So I don't care who you bring in. You can bring in the DOJ, you can bring in anybody. Just do the darn investigation. That's what I want.
So, since we know that the state police don't do that, and Clark Barrett Smith has given us a referral, it's a firm called Gold Shield out of Bloomingdale. We know Hilliard Hines is also a firm, we've used them before, we do have the scope of service. If the council would like us to go with Gold Shields, we could go with Gold Shields to get this thing started.
Steve, you received a text message from the head of the state police saying they don't do it?
It was from our police chief who had contacted a captain at the state police, his contact.
And I would probably be more comfortable if we did that in writing with them. Ask them if they can do it and ask them if they have any referrals. There's been enough of changing stories. We need to dot our I's and cross our T's. That leads me to the other question, Mayor, thank you for letting me have the floor, is there were a couple of meetings that I was not invited to, and I think most of the council weren't. And I think Councilwoman Gavin is referring to at least one of them. And we talk about what wasn't said at those meetings. Now, when we as a council were first shown the 7.5 minutes of video on June 23rd, we memorialized that on audio tape. The executive sessions, for people who don't know that, aren't videotaped and televised because they're private. So if I were to say that the mayor said nothing to me and you wanted to verify it, you would listen to the tape if it was released. So these meetings, these private meetings, these 2 private meetings, one was a very small cloister of local journalists, as well as another one with local, I don't know how many, 2, 3 religious leaders. Were they memorialized in any tape, audio, or video? Is there any way to prove what was or wasn't said during those presentations?
Is that question to me?
To anybody who can answer. It could be Steve, it could be whoever.
Well, as you know, if 3 people have a meeting and they're not elected officials, there is no requirement that in effect, meetings be taped, there be minutes taken. In effect, we treated the press as we would private citizens, and I can't answer for Councilwoman Gavin. I assume it was the same.
It was the same for us as well, because as I said, this group was a group that was already working with the police, and we were already working on reforms and police procedures. Matter of fact, there were other people involved in that were sending in their proposals for police reform. So no, it wasn't, not to my knowledge, it wasn't taped.
Again, when it comes to the request from the state police, this is not only a high-profile case, this is an extremely human and emotional case because a family lost a member. Let's dot our I's and cross our T's. Transparency. I don't need to define the word. I think we all understand what it means. Sending a letter and not just a text directly to something that can be put in the record would be wise. I don't know if anybody disagrees with me. And in that same letter, so if they do, they say, no, we don't do that type of investigation. And if they can't give a referral, they've never had any experience with referring people. I want that. I kind of want that in writing.
I've already requested it.
Okay, thank you, Krista.
Next is new business not for final action or recommendation.
Don? Larry?
Nothing.
Jim?
No.
Mike? Pat? Terry?
Nothing,
Betty?
I have nothing.
Next is public comments. First is Stringer Harris. Just a reminder, everyone has 4 minutes to speak, and I believe we have some people out in the hallways, and I think we are full, so when you're finished speaking, if you wouldn't mind stepping out, we are playing it outside as well, so we can give everybody an opportunity to speak.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, guys. Good evening, Mayor. Just to comment off of what you just said, I believe the Illinois State Police do internal investigation, and it's called DII. Have you heard of that? Yeah, DII does internal investigations with the Joliet or any police department. They do internal investigations, DII. Well, I'm standing here today as a national community activist, and I'm standing here with the family and friends of Eric Lurie. As I just heard, and you guys know, it's been too long. We're going on 7 months now, and tapes, things that has been said in the paper, it's disturbing, it's disgusting. The terminology of a stunner has been used by the deputy chief that said it was okay and that it was a policy of the Joliet Police Department to use stunners on people. I have on tape and on film Joliet police, lieutenants and sergeants, when I ask what is a stunner, they have no idea what a stunner is, which tells me that's not a part of the policy. If anybody on this council have looked at that tape, you would see that Mr. Lurie was alive when he was slapped in the face and called a bitch. And the reason why he was alive is because his face was turned one way. And when he was slapped and called a bitch, he himself turned his face to look at the officer. At that point, his nose was pinched and his throat was covered. Now, I was told that he was checking for a pulse. Anybody in the medical field know that you can't check a pulse with your thumb, or that's really not the technique that you use. You don't use your thumb to check a pulse, and that's what happened. He had his thumb around his throat with his 2 fingers as well for 1 minute and 38 seconds. The report that came out said that Mr. Lurie was alive when he left the Joliet police custody on his way to the hospital. Well, I don't know how many people that are alive when you use CPR on them and also use a defibrillator that was there. As you guys say, tapes has been coming out. First it was just one tape, then more tapes came out. I looked at the unedited video of these officers abusing this young man, and again, it was disgusting. And another thing that we need to talk about is the audio in this car. The sound goes out after he does that, and then the audio mysteriously comes back on as they're on their way to the hospital. This vehicle, which obviously, if the police is saying something is wrong with the audio, this car never went down in maintenance. So that's a huge problem. That car should have went down in maintenance immediately, because the audio is messed up. So that car is still out on the street. That car did not go into maintenance. It's been too long, guys. We have put a letter together to Kwame Raoul as well, and the family needs answers. It's been a back and forth. We have been out here exercising some of our First Amendment rights, and it has been nothing but turmoil trying to do that. And I know protesting here in Joliet might be a little bit different. How much time I got, guys? Anybody know?
Oh, 10 seconds.
10 seconds. All right, I'm gonna sit down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Jerry Hervey.
Mayor, council. Well, I'm just a close friend of Miss Lurie and Mr. Eric Lurie, and this is disturbing. It's just outright disturbing. Everything from Marty Shanahan up to the lady that's suing the city for $950,000. It's like you want to do an internal investigation, but they can't even police themselves. You cannot trust the police to police themselves. How many officers have been held accountable and disciplined for their wrong actions? The officers that are going to cost taxpayers almost $1 million to settle this, we don't even know who they are. They only refer to as John Doe. Who here finds something wrong with that other than me? Like Marty Shanahan was doing a great job. Why was he fired? What made you fire him? because he found out that the police department was violating their own collective bargaining agreement? And you standing here, and I listen to y'all throw these numbers around. $4.5 million, $6.5 million. We need to borrow this. But they're just using our money as a slush fund. And nobody has an issue with this. Am I the only person who sees something wrong with this?
No, we do. No.
Why do they not have body cameras? Oh, we don't have a budget. But you throwing around $4 and $5 million like it's nothing. Come on, man, be realistic. You should be ashamed of yourself. Because after Marty Shanahan was fired, you turn around and terminate him from being legal, in the legal department? For what? For doing the right thing.
Right.
So doing the right thing is frowned upon. You fired him. You got the whistleblower in trouble in less than a week. Oh, that didn't even take 7 days. But you got an investigation into the death of a young man that's taken every bit of 7 months. Help me understand. Am I the only person who sees something wrong with this?
No.
Like, you know? So, I mean, feel free to answer. Why are these officers who's going to cost taxpayers $1 million to settle only referred to as John Doe? Have they been disciplined?
No.
Have they been investigated?
No.
So apparently doing the right thing is frowned upon. But doing the wrong thing, oh, don't worry about it. We got your back. We'll cover it up.
Right.
Because it's not going to cost you anything.
Come on.
It's going to cost us something.
Come on. That ain't right.
$6.5 million, $4.5 million. It's all of this nonsense with this money, and nobody has said, hey, the police department are being paid for things they shouldn't be paid for. Nobody has said, hey, we need to get them body cameras at this day and age with technology so we can let the public see our side of the story.
Come on.
If something goes wrong, you know what? We got a body camera. Let's pull it out. Let's look at it. Let's get ahead of this and see what goes on. But you're throwing around $6.5 million for a library. Police officers being paid for things they shouldn't be paid for. You got 109 city employees that accounts for 80% of the city budget. The city population is 150,000. That's less than 10% of the population accounting for 80% of the city's budget. Am I the only person who sees something wrong with this?
No. We all do too.
And now you're going to resign and leave this mess for the next person to clear up. And didn't you get paid $81,000 for this, to step into this? You can answer that. It's not a rhetorical question. It's a yes or no answer. Good Lord.
Javier Payton.
Good evening, everybody. Eric Leary was my brother-in-law. I just think it's messed up what happened to him. And we want justice, that's all. That's it.
Thank you.
Shaquila Jameson.
How y'all doing? I am Eric Lurie's sister. I am Nicole Lurie's sister. And I just want to state that we do want justice for BJ. We want every cop that was there on the scene held accountable for everything that they did that was wrong. When I say held accountable and what justice means to us, every last one of them should be fired. Every last one of them should be gone off the force. And we can look at some jail time if you ask me. All of them can go. Because what they did was completely wrong. Completely. Here it is. We're living without him. Everyone else is happy. Everyone else is living their best life with all this money that everyone is talking about. And we grieving. I sit and watch my sister cry for her husband. They was getting married. Well, sorry, they're married. They were renewing their vows. 10 years of being married. And he's taken away like that. How can the police let him go, come back and harass him and pick him up again? And then hold his nose. Can y'all hold your breath for 1 minute and 38 seconds right now and see if you can breathe? Can I get anybody hold their nose, hold their breath? Right, choke them. Choke them. If I choke you and hold your nose, can you breathe?
No.
And you telling me that's the proper force that they're supposed to use? You can miss me with it. Justice for BJ.
Susanna Ibarra.
Hello, everybody. How many people here on the council believe that Black Lives Matter? Raise your hand if you believe Black Lives Matter. So none of you do. Nobody? Jan believes Black Lives Matter? Jan, you care more about animals, actually, than you do about human beings. And the way that you treat Councilwoman Gavin, I'm telling you right now, it's like the meanest girl in high school I've ever seen. We don't want to hear any more about the letter. We're tired of hearing about that letter. Move on, next. Let me tell you this. Why are you sitting on your hands? Police reforms were presented 6 weeks ago. This is happening all across America. We're not unique here in Joliet. We're the third largest city in Illinois, third or fourth largest city. These demands, overnight, they're passed in other cities. What is wrong with Joliet? Eric may be alive today, BJ Laurie. The reform that states mental health professionals accompany a cop as a first responder in the case of overdose, suicide, or a mental health crisis. If we had that proposal today and that was passed, he may be alive today. The budget of the Joliet Police Department accounts for 50% of the Joliet City budget. You're throwing $6 million into a library that looks perfectly fine to me. You could get body cameras for every officer. Let me tell you why they don't want body cameras for every officer. Because it shows the real story. Mayor, you are disrespectful. I've watched you for half of this meeting continuing to text. We're talking about people's lives here. And this is my time. This is my time. I'm reclaiming my time.
You're not watching me text because
I'm reclaiming, you're doing something, you're fiddling around and you're having tons of fun with your head down. Okay, they violated our First Amendment rights, our rights to protest. They kept drawing the line in the sand, the Joliet police threatened to gas women and children that were completely peaceful. That's at your behest, Mayor. That is at your behest. You know exactly immediately probably what happened to Eric Laurie, and let me tell you why. Because I was in your office the day that Bruce Carter was shot and killed by police. You immediately got a phone call, you immediately got up, you threw on your coat, and you left. You went to the scene of that murder. So anyone here that thinks this mayor is any hero is wrong. In fact, I'd like to see the redacted video because I happen to think you might be in part of it. And that's why you're blacked out. So you need to resign. You are unfit to serve. And white folks on this council, you're also held accountable by me, another white person. You have not spoken out. You have not done a single thing. Betty Gavin has, and Don Duck Dickinson. So all of the rest of you that have had your mouth stitched shut, or maybe the mayor has threatened you too, like he threatens a lot of people, are not without fault. Thank you.
Thank you.
Connor Lonergan.
Alright, the name is Connor Lonergan. I am with the Will County Progressives, like Susanna here, and she mentioned about the demands. Well, here are the demands. The city council has increased the police budget over $10 million since 2012, even as Joliet constantly had less crime than the state and national average. We are calling for a 50% decrease in the police budget. That is $30 million. With the savings to be reinvested into our community, this reinvestment should be in two places, such as school and infrastructure specifically. The city of Joliet must move to create an independent civilian oversight body with the powers to make budgetary, disciplinary hirings and firing decisions. This body could be elected or appointed from a list provided by a coalition of community organizers and individuals serving in the oversight body should be free of any ties to the police and there should be no money incentive for serving on such a committee. Regularly commission a survey to inform the civilian oversight body of the interactions and experiences of the citizens of the police department. The survey should be used to inform the police practices and pay incentives as the city of Milwaukee has done. Officers' use of force and disciplinary histories should be made completely accessible to the public and other police departments for greater transparency. Establish a team of mental health professionals and social workers to be incorporated as first responders in any cases involving suicides, overdoses, mental health, and other mental health crises. Models of this exist in Eugene, Oregon, and to some degree within the LAPD mental evaluation team. Additionally require annual mental health assessments for officers to be conducted by a third party. And the policing of broken windows offenses by deprioritizing or decriminalizing offenses such as loitering and disturbing the peace. Ban the use of all chokeholds and neck restraints by police officers. Additionally, require extensive training on de-escalation techniques during the academy and throughout their careers. Require the use of body cams on all police officers. Enact a 3-stripe policy for officers. Any officers that would warrant suspension of 3 days or more would count as a strike, and a 3rd strike would mean termination. Enforce an anti-racism policies within the police department that would involve extensively vetting even current officers for ties to hate groups. Implement greater screening of those with military experience, as their skills are typically not well suited for civilian interactions. They have been. I'm sorry, my phone turned off. They have been trained to combat an enemy not for community policing. Currently, military experience awards the most preference points. Require certification for officers, much like the server, nail tech, or barber would have. Require drug testing for officers for illegal substances such as performance.
Can you wrap it up, please, sir?
As performances enhancing drugs and hard drugs like cocaine, and end qualified immunity.
Thank you.
Ruth Holmes. Ruth Holmes.
Do we, are there people in the hallway that need to come in? Can you guys start bring the new speakers in?
All right. I'm not much of a public speaker. I prefer to stay in the background, but I can't stay silent any longer. I am tired of seeing black men and people of color being arrested right in front of me. I was in the streets those days. I was right behind them, but the cops just turned around, pushed me on the curb, and pretended nothing happened. The only reason I wasn't arrested that day was because of the color of my skin. The cops here are racist, and they are violent. They only feel safe if their hands are rested on their guns, so we have to feel threatened, not them. They see a group of black men and they feel threatened. Yesterday, our protest had already calmed down. We were just talking, but the police decided to re-escalate. They decided to push us back out of the street. They decided to bring out the riot gear and start threatening us. They wouldn't even let us be in the public street anymore. I had to pull the 17-year-old girl I was with out of harm's way. I was terrified for her life. And the cops actually had the audacity to turn to me and say, "Thank you." Don't thank me. I'm not doing your job. I am putting my body in between you and her because I am fearing for her life. It is disgusting what we're seeing. You guys are militarizing this city against peaceful protesters. We were peaceful. We weren't doing anything to harm anybody or any property. But you guys won't listen to us. So we're gonna be back here, we're gonna be back on those streets every single week until you actually look at the police reforms that we presented to you 6 weeks ago. It's been 6 weeks that we gave you these reforms. What are you guys doing? Other cities are already acting. What are you guys doing? So we're gonna be back. I'm gonna be recording the entire thing because I am tired of this.
Joseph Hamer.
Hey, y'all. I just wanted to say Black Lives Do Matter, and I'm rescinding my time. Mr. Harris.
Yeah, Mr. Harris, we normally don't allow this, it's not, but go ahead.
I appreciate
Just
it.
moving forward, we don't reserve time for other people.
He didn't reserve, he rescinded. That's Robert's rule of order.
Thank you.
Sure.
It is our constitutional right to protest on sidewalks, streets, and public parks. It includes picketing, marching, handing out pamphlets. I understand that sometimes permits are required if you're going to have a massive rally or shut down whole streets and parks and have speakers and so forth and so on. But you cannot ban a peaceful protest. Our amendment rights protect us and have spontaneous protests in response of current events like we're having right now. I understand that the police can ask you to step out of the street because of traffic flow, but we think that we know, or that you know, that it's important to emphasize to the police that they have to be proportionate here and protect our rights as well, and to be reasonable. Just because a protest is inconvenient and it may take someone longer to get somewhere, that does not mean that we do not have the right to protest. If you have watched all over the world, the protesters have went to the street. They're not standing on anybody's sidewalk. Because if you think about it, if you're on somebody's sidewalk, you're probably gonna step in their grass. So we go to the street. We take our protesters to the street. If you don't know who I am Stringer Harris. I've been a national community activist for 3 years. With those 3 years, I have had the very fortunate privilege to sit down with the Vice President of the United States of this America. I have the privilege to meet with Lori Lightfoot once a month. I have been told that I have a history of violence through Lieutenant Alvra, whatever his name is, who on this Sunday pushed me. That's caught on video, where he pushed me in the front. As I turn around to walk away, he pushed me in the back. Then he grabs my arm and threatens to arrest me. That's on this week. On last week, here, another lieutenant arrests me for asking a question. Again, I'm simply asking why was someone arrested and I'm being arrested. I was targeted, I'm still targeted, and I have no problem with being targeted. Again, I just want our rights. Everybody that's out there protesting, their rights need to be upheld just like the police rights. I understand you don't want to impede traffic, but understand also that if you look, and I'm gonna say this again, all over the world, I'm talking about Germany, they're taking bridges, they're shutting they're shutting things down. And I spoke to Deputy Chief, and we kind of came to a proposition that I thought he was gonna come back with me with some good news, and he didn't. And I tried to come to him first and let him know what was going on, because I wanted things to go right. They can shut down the street when we come to the police station. They shut it down. So why can't, and again, it doesn't take a lot. You just put one squad car down the street, another squad car down the other street, and we march. And I know you guys don't have that normally in Joliet. We want to do this. We want to do it peacefully. We want to do it right. They're inciting us to be violent, coming out with riot gear, threatening to tear gas. And again, it's women, it's children. And I mean children that's out here. And they're not violent, we're not violent, we're saying things. If the officers don't like what we're saying, they need to have tougher skin. Thank you, guys.
Tovar. I'm not sure if Tovar. And I apologize if that's not. Then we'll move on to Jonathan Marquardt.
Hi. I have spent all 24 years of my life in Joliet, and I'm proud to be from the city, but to put it in the council nice form, I'm incredibly displeased with the vast majority of who I have in front of me. For years, seeing this stuff go on across the country, I have hoped that it would not happen in my city, but obviously that it has. And time again, I've come to these council meetings, either sitting in a lobby listening or being right in the back here. Little has been done. I recall a few weeks ago, and I will quote roughly here, we were discussing the document of reform that has been presented 6 weeks ago that Susanna read off. And there was one particular point in there where we requested that chokeholds be banned. And from the council, a response was, quoting roughly, "Chokeholds are already banned in Illinois, so I don't know what you want to be done about that." How absolutely condescending. We're reading off a list of things that we want to be seen done in our city, and you say, oh, this is already done. Like, come on. Aside from that, I also think that it is very convenient that we ask questions about why the officer that brought forth footage and gave it to the council is desked, while the officers involved in Eric Lury's death are still out there today. And when we ask about these personnel things, they say, oh, that's a city manager thing. But we've had trouble having a city manager for the past while, and changes in that position have been heavily scrutinized. We had a good city manager before. We don't know why it's changing. But then when we bring up problems, we say, oh, that's a city manager thing. I don't understand what is going on at the council, but we feel condescended. We've been coming here time and time again being very clear about the changes that we want made, and we feel empty-handed. For a lot of my young life, I've fought to put the good word out for Joliet. People have a lot of negative things to say about this city, especially young residents here. I've done a lot of talking to people. It's getting tough. You guys are not doing a great job right now. You know what you need to do. We've been here for a month and a half talking to you guys. Step up and do your job or resign. You're not representing us.
Candace Quinnerly.
Hello, my name is Candace Quinnerly. I didn't know that Jonathan was going to be right before me, but I echo everything that he just said. It is incredibly disappointing to see our elected officials just twiddling their thumbs for a month and a half. And we have been here, we have been protesting, we've been trying to make communication with you, and we just kind of get swept off. I want to make it clear to you all, as elected officials, that until you do right by the citizens of Joliet, that put you in those very seats, we're going to keep calling each and every one of you on the carpet. We will not be intimidated. We won't be pushed aside. We're going to keep digging. We're going to keep showing up to meetings. We're going to keep protesting. We're going to keep keep pushing for our city to pass police reform and just see some equality for the people that live here. This is ridiculous. We're calling for transformational change, transparency in our government, because there is none. Everything that we end up finding out, we have to dig it up because it's been hidden, it's been swept under the rug. And honestly, a lot of people don't know what their rights are as citizens. And so they don't think to say, hey, this isn't okay. But we're here now and we're saying it's not okay. We're calling for justice for Eric Lury and for Victor and Jamal and every other name that has been forgotten or swept under the rug. And to Mayor Odekirk specifically, we have not forgotten about your antics on May 31st. You're gonna have to answer for your actions. And until you do, we're not gonna let you forget about it. It's not okay. You have to own up to your failures as a leader and stop pointing the finger at anyone who looks like a good scapegoat. In 2017, Mayor Odekirk, you said, the rules apply to everyone, even citizens and business owners with a connection to local officials. The people of Joliet need to know that their elected officials respond to any situation that is putting people in danger. That's aged very poorly. Additionally, Ms. Gavin, you've referenced the pastors have been working on police reform multiple times now, but why is it so cloak and dagger? Why is it not public knowledge? Why is it not public information if you agree that we need police reform? This is not for me or for you or for the mayor or for anybody else. It is for the entire community, so it should be something that is public. When is it actually going to be pushed through? Or are we just going to keep being strung along indefinitely until somebody forgets about it. There is a public document proposing sweeping police reform, which has been read here tonight, that has been put together with community input, which Susanna and I have presented to Steve Jones first, then to Mayor Odekirk, along with Officer Lakota that's sitting over there, and then Chris Regis. I want to know when we're going to see anything happen. When are we going to see change? When are you going to actually give some consideration to those demands at this point? Because it's literally just been sitting on your desks for over a month. I've lived in the city all of my life. I love it here. I love my neighbors. But my heart has never been so broken for my city. I'm so disappointed at what's going on here. It needs to change.
Tanya Avila.
I'm part of protest group Team String. We've actively been advocating and are actively still seeking justice for Eric Lurie's death. Eric Lurie was a Black man who was killed in the custody of Joliet police. And the officers stood by and did nothing to impede. We speak against police brutality and we seek radical police reform. We stand in solidarity with Nicole Lurie, Eric Lurie's wife. Joliet Police has twice impeded and attempted to silence our organization to protest on public space while we attempted to peacefully protest, violating our First Amendment rights. On Sunday night, while we peacefully protested in front of Joliet Police Department, Joliet Police used excessive force and brought out an unidentified officer in riot gear holding a baton and a canister of tear gas, while the presence of young children and families. As you all know, the one with authority sets the tone for the handling of conflict. 4 of our organizers this Sunday, including myself, were arrested on alleged obstruction of a police officer. Sunday night, I was serving as a protest marshal. I was filming and was arrested for attempting to de-escalate a situation between a Black male member of our protest. We will not allow Joliet citizens to be intimidated and harassed by the same individuals sworn under oath to serve and protect. We will not allow the city's priority to order to deter Joliet citizens from exercising their constitutional rights. We demand present as well as retroactive scrutiny and oversight on the actions of Joliet Police Department on cases where citizens have been violated while taken into custody. We demand that officers require a duty to intervene on behalf of police employees who witness inappropriate excessive force. And we demand an expedited investigation and resolution to the Eric Lurie case and the firing of all officers that were present and all the city officials who have conspired to cover up evidence. We demand justice for Eric Lurie.
Darian Samuels.
Hey everybody. I just want to talk to y'all about my first day in Joliet. I am a young Black kid from the south side of Chicago, raised in a lot of criminal households, and just talk to you about my first day in Joliet, what I know, what I saw, and what I was shown. First day, our friend calls me, says, go to a protest. Somebody else has been in another horror story. Somebody else has been murdered, and magically evidence has disappeared. Magically, the people who should be held accountable haven't. And I know if that was me, I would want somebody to go for me, and I know if that was one of my family members, I'd burn something down. So, my friends, Team String, we all come. And one by one, as we're protesting, magically, we start to disappear. Somebody gets arrested here, somebody gets arrested here, somebody gets arrested here, somebody gets arrested here. Now, I'm just a kid from the hood, south side of Chicago. I've been hunted before, oddly enough. I know what it feels like when, damn, excuse my language, 1 gone, 2 gone, 3 gone, 4 gone, and we're all a part of the same group. And I'm like, okay, so the police are targeting us. The police are investigating, seeing who's a problem, and searching them. What I know and what I was shown, sorry. After that, we follow our friends to the police station. We take the protest there. I saw things that made me, as a black man, disgusted. That bothered me deeply. We're talking to the police, civil conversation, and they're tight-lipped. They don't say anything. So we just continue protesting. Walking down the street, one of my friends says to a police officer, "Black Lives Matter." That same police officer who was just tight-lipped a second ago asking about Mr. Lurie's death screams back, "All lives matter." God. I'm sickened. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's a cop. Just said he couldn't say, just said he couldn't have no political opinion, just said he couldn't talk, but didn't feel any hesitation to scream, "All lives matter." Okay, that's one strike. I look away, I see a priest. I see a religious man next to the same cop. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Now my lease is up in my apartment. I'm thinking about moving. Joliet was one of the places I wanted to move. I said, I can't go to church. I can't go to church, a place where God is supposed to see me as his child, without my religious men being next to the police that want me dead. My police are screaming, "All lives matter" at me. Now again, I'm just a kid from the hood. And these cops who said they could not make any comment, could not say anything about Mr. Lurie, I saw them talking for hours as the protest lasted hours. I'm like, what the hell are y'all talking about? Y'all can talk, right? Y'all speaking to each other. I try to interrupt one of the conversations, try to slide in, be charismatic, try to slide in some questions. Can't talk. And I say, well, a crime has been committed. Somebody's been wrongly murdered. You can't speak on a crime. I can't talk to the police about crime. Can't make a comment about that. And again, just a kid from the hood, I go, man, I was always taught that the police are paid snitches. Is what they do, right? That's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. And I know gang members who do not speak. It's a code of silence that we all follow. I'm talking to the police and thinking of the police like I would a gang member. Slowly but surely, I'm like, Joe, I can't go to move Joliet. I go into the office with Mr. Harris. We're trying to talk to somebody. I'm in the lobby. They say, we can't let you in the lobby. COVID this, COVID that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, a cop just yanked one of my friends out of a car, no mask, no nothing. You didn't care about COVID then. Y'all won't let us in? And as the night goes on, we're peaceful. But let me ask y'all something. You don't got to answer, just answer in your own head, right? I know some of y'all are a little older, but when you had the youth in you, when you had a lot more passion and aggression, how long would y'all peacefully talk to somebody, right, that you need to hear you? You see they have two working ears and they're not listening. How long before you lose your temper? How long before you lose your you-know-what? That's what we were. And we didn't even do that. They came with riot gear, stuff I see on Call of Duty when I play with my friends every night. And that hurts my heart because I know that y'all are buying that riot gear for who? For me? For my friends who were arrested? I'm gone in a second. I want you to look at that young woman right there, Tanya. She's 5'2", 100 pounds. Y'all feel like y'all have to get riot gear for us? For women and children? Tear gas for kids?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jeannie Sison.
Hi, my name is Jenny Sison, and I have to be honest, I'm not from here, and I never went through having someone close to me I never had someone in my family be passed away, but that doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if that doesn't matter if I went through that experience. I have people I know so close to me. If I knew they were taken the way that Eric B.J. Lurie was, like how I think that it was just unjust. No one should ever be taken away like that. And I think that police should be accountable for their actions. And it was not, none of this was right. I would like to send the rest of my time to anybody that wants to speak more about this.
Thank you.
Rashana Mitchell.
So I'm back here again today, as I promised you guys I would be. And I originally had prepared something to say, but listening to you, Mr. Jones, and hearing everybody else, Mr. Jones, you should be ashamed of yourself. You absolutely should be ashamed, you and the chief. It is ridiculous. It is deceitful what you have done and what you have covered up. According to the Webster Dictionary, transparency is free from pretense or deceit. Well, let's just say you, Mr. City Manager, and the Joliet Police Department are not free from pretense or deceit. We know not only were there cameras outside of that police station that have miraculously disappeared, we also know that in that transparent investigation that you guys did, that you guys said was so transparent, for all you that didn't sign, they say that the investigation was transparent. I know 100% certain there was a police officer that was not even asked not one single question, who was there when the initial stop took place. I also know that initial stop took place at 3 p.m. The video starts at 4 o'clock. What were you guys doing to my cousin in that time? I also know that you patted him down, you found nothing. And then, like a miracle, he's on the ground and supposedly he's got drugs in his mouth at 4 o'clock. Where's the rest of the video? You, Mr. City Manager, should be ashamed of yourself, and we will hold you to account for it. And let me tell you something. These police officers in this department, they have a duty to protect and serve. And let me tell you, they were negligent in that duty. Negligent. They knew on multiple times. I listened to that video. I've combed through all of those reports every day, every night. I'm thinking, okay, let me take notes. I'm seeing stuff. In the one video where it started at 4 o'clock after they had already miraculously let him go, and just like a miracle from the sky, they decided to arrest him again. The video started, you can hear sound. All of a sudden, the sound disappears. What do you know? Another miracle. So the sound comes back on. You can hear somebody in the background telling the officer you're being recorded. Now, I don't know, maybe, guy was just in the business of performing miracles for the police station. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. They were negligent, they lied, they were deceitful, and you helped them. So you, Mr. City Manager, along with the police department, the deputy chief, the state's attorney's office, and the Will County Coroners, we are coming for you. So you can be on notice that we will not stop until we get justice for Eric Lurie. And let me tell you something. I'm so sick of hearing, oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. You want to know something? I have had people calling me from all over. And guess what I found out today from talking to a chief of staff for one of our representatives here in Illinois? Yes, Mr. Raul is investigating this case. And guess what? All you crooks down here in this city hall, at that Joliet Police Department, the state's attorney, and that coroner's officer, y'all are going down. And trust me, I will not stop until I see it happen.
Ernest Krem.
I think you forgot your phone. Say his name. Everybody. Say his name. Everybody. Say his name. Everybody. Say his name. Everybody. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. Say his name. Everybody. Say his name. Everybody. Say his name. Everybody. I got some more stuff to say. It's crazy. I came here several times, told y'all about this. It's crazy. I told y'all about this. I told y'all about y'all police. Look, first of all, we got to get with the mayor. We know, Mayor, you don't care anything about this. This is a political move. You don't like the police chief. You're doing this to take pressure off yourself, man. You went out there yourself. You tackled a peaceful protester. The charges were dropped. What that means is you lied. You lied. Charges were dropped. You lied, all right? You've been doing that for 20-something years in this city, tackling people, abusing people. You're for law and order, but you're lawless. You're a criminal. You're a thug, and you're the reason why this stuff happens. You all operate off this pretext that if I pass a law, I can skirt around it because, hey, well, shit, slavery was legal.
That was fine. It was illegal to fight against slavery. We know what y'all doing. It was illegal to go to the Black Water Fountain. We know what you do. We saw one video. There are several more. You coming down and you know it. You're fighting for air. Everybody here knows it, bro. Stuff is about to change. Stuff is about to change. Positions are about to be gone. All y'all up here that ain't doing your job the right way, you know what's about to happen. You got your moment right now to speak up. Stop being scared. I know y'all scared of losing your position, but be scared of losing your conscience. That's what you lost. That's what you lost. What you did was cowardly. If I did that as a teacher, I'd be gone in a second. I can't relive my old job. I used to be a banker. You want me to go up in that bank and say something? Take some money? Y'all weren't doing your job right. That ain't how it go, bruh. You done. It's over with. All that stuff you used to do back in the day, we know about it. You're squabbling with the chief, we know about it. The charges dropped, we know about it. Look, with Eric Lurie, several physicians have already come out, y'all, and they said what they did was improper. Matter of fact, let me explain a little something to y'all. Because look, in 2015, Joliet police officers got Narcan. And for all the people, all the commenters out there saying, well, they were trying to save his life. Undercover cops don't go to save lives. They go to make an arrest and build a case, all right? That's fact right there. On February 2020, this year, after Eric Lurie passed away mysteriously in their hands, Chief Al Rocha came up here and said that last year, 75 officers carried Narcan and 29 lives were saved in 2019. 29 lives. Ain't that interesting, huh? Let's keep going though. September 5th, 2018, a Joliet resident was using Narcan to save an overdose victim. This guy right here, his name is Jerry Reeves. He noticed somebody was unresponsive. He was a citizen, not a police officer. He pulled over and saved this man's life. So you telling me he got more training than our police officers? I'll pay for their salary. That's uncalled for, unnecessary. 29 people's lives saved. But Eric Lurie, no. He was breathing when they went there to the hospital, but they didn't have Narcan. Because y'all, see, look, undercover cops don't care about your life. They ain't trying to save you. They trying to build a case. They want to recover evidence, not recover your life. Y'all know this. Don't be scared though. Don't be scared. Do what's right, because look, since May 26th, everybody woke. So the people that voted for y'all before that day, they ain't doing it again unless you stand up. You know that for a fact. These people, look. This is unbelievable, man. I've been telling y'all this stuff, bro. I'm so sick and tired of it. I can't even articulate myself properly. Look, check this out. How are we as black people supposed to feel safe if police officers who work for y'all city don't even feel safe? They suing y'all city because they don't feel safe. Come on, man. Come on, Pat. That's crazy, right? They suing y'all because they don't feel safe. If I sued my school district because I didn't feel adequate as a teacher, like I feel like it was racist, that's a problem. If they would treat me that way, then how they treating the citizens? That's the issue. I know my time is up, but I'm gonna keep going though. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. This ain't a comment. This ain't a question. I'm telling you right now.
Thank you.
Look, the promise is gonna be kept.
Okay, thank you.
The promise is gonna
Clyde
be kept, bro.
Macklemore.
Change is gonna happen.
Thank you.
Believe that.
Clyde Macklemore.
Have a good day, brother.
My name is Clyde Macklemore. I'm a founder of the Lake County chapter of Black Lives Matter. You know, I was in Atlanta, Georgia for Rashid Brooks' murder. I was down there protesting, and I was at the hotel, and I saw this video of Joliet, Illinois, which is where I'm from, Chicago. I'm like, damn, this right in the hood. What the hell going on? And I watched the video, and then I went online so I could get a good look of it. You know what I'm saying? You know how the news go right through. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing right here in Joliet, Illinois. So I drove an hour to get here tonight because I knew I had to come. I had to come because I've been out of town and everything. But I've been hearing a lot of people talking about they've been out here protesting and getting arrested. For real? Man, we do peaceful protests, but we shut shit down. That's what the name of the game is. That's why it's a protest, because you can't keep money going, because that's what y'all want. Y'all want to see business keep going, so we shut shit down. So I got 3 lawyers that works under Black Lives Matter. So if you ever arrest one of my people, we got lawyers on the spot. So officer, y'all know that, because the next protest, I will be out here. and we bringing people out here. I want to answer your question. For you being a city council member and you being a city manager, you said that the state police can't do investigations. I've been all over this state, man, and every murder that the police has been involved with, state police can come in. Not only that, just suppose you was right. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, but I know you're alive. But anyway, just suppose you was right. Each one of y'all can write the FBI and bring the FBI in. You know what I'm saying? And they right there in Chicago on Roosevelt Road. They right there on, they will come down here and do investigation. Not only that, we also have a Chicago chapter of the DOJ. They will come down. You don't have to do it as a group. If you really care, each one of y'all could write an individual letter. Look, I'm a city council member at Joliet. We had this going on. Can you come down here and please help us? Be surprised. Now, I don't know what's wrong with this brother here, man. You don't even care, like you don't care. You don't care. I mean, I sitting there, just watch your whole attitude. I know you can't say nothing when it's public comment, but you can at least care. Because I know, and somebody said something about the police said all lives matter. We didn't say all lives don't matter, but all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. You know, now, why isn't the Joliet, I got something here. I heard y'all you say you was with some pastors and y'all was doing police reforms. Well, first of all, the pastors get grant money. They are 501c3. They're the biggest con men in them all. You know what I'm saying? So they're coming around here trying to do police reforms. That's BS, okay? What you need training in is unconscious bias, emotional intelligence. This what each one, where the police go. That's what y'all need to get trained in. Diversity and inclusion awareness, leadership and communication, procedural justice, and elimination. This is the stuff that y'all need to be getting trained in. And I just heard, I was downstairs, y'all just gave $460,000 for a library? And you mean to tell me you can't get this kind of training? Guess what? The DOJ will give it to you for free. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
Hello. I just want to say one thing. I am a nurse. I am professional, and I want you to think about something. If you brought your loved one to the hospital, and I was the nurse, and you saw me choking, squeezing the nose, slapping a person, cursing them out, don't tell me that you would not do everything you can to get me off that job. You would get me fired, you would get me arrested, and you would make sure that I pay for what I did to your loved one. This is my nephew. He did not deserve what was done to him. And for any one of you guys to sit up there and say that you didn't see anything wrong with this, something must be wrong with you, because that is not police procedure and policies. Even a blind man, Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see that. And if that was your loved one, things would be done different.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening?
Sorry, one
No one's
comment.
getting
Take a
mine.
seat,
No one's
please.
getting mine. I'd like to thank
All right,
Officer
Kristen, move on,
Lakota.
please.
No, I would like to thank Officer
Susanna, you gotta be
Lakota.
removed from
No,
all. You're not following
I
the
want to
rules.
thank Officer Lakota, whether
Kristen,
he agrees
go ahead.
with
That's all
me
that
or
have signed
not.
up this evening, so next would be mayor and council comments.
I'm not going to. I want to thank him, whether he
Take a
agrees
seat, you're
with
gonna
me
be
or
asked
not.
to leave,
Nope,
Susanna, you gotta follow the rules.
nope.
Okay,
See, we come up here to do something nice and to say something nice, and you're acting like a jerk.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Do that
Mayor and
behind
council
chamber
comments are
doors,
next.
too.
Council comments, Don. Larry?
No, nothing.
Jim?
No.
Mike? Pat? Terry? Sherry? Betty? Nothing.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. It's a motion seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.